Today I rise in support of the Fraud Enforcement and Recovery Act. I'm pleased to be a co-sponsor of this legislation, and I want to thank Senators Leahy and Grassley and the members of the Judiciary Committee for their critical work on this very important effort to increase our capacity to investigate and prosecute the fraudulent activity that has severely weakened our economy and hurt the taxpayer. Fraudulent lending contributed to the collapse of the mortgage-backed securities market, sending our economy into a tailspin and putting taxpayers on the hook for a huge Wall Street bailout. Taxpayers deserve to know that those fraudulent lenders are being held accountable. And we need to send a message to those who would commit fraud in the future that they will also be held accountable. With their current resources, however, federal agencies aren't able to properly investigate claims of mortgage fraud, which have increased more than 10 times in the past 6 years. With the funding authorized in this bill, the Department of Justice will be able to hire more prosecutors, and the FBI will be able to nearly double its mortgage and financial fraud program. The bill would also allow the Department of Justice to prosecute fraud committed by all mortgage lenders, not just those that are regulated by the federal government. Under current law, federal fraud laws don't apply to non-depository mortgage lenders, which made nearly half of residential mortgages before the housing market collapsed. Including these businesses in the fraud statute will allow the Department of Justice to properly investigate and prosecute fraud in the entire mortgage market. Last month, I offered an amendment to the budget to expand the capacity of the Housing and Urban Development Inspector General to fight mortgage fraud. I was pleased to have the Senate agree with that amendment. Now we have an opportunity to follow up with an explicit authorization of funds to protect vital HUD programs. The Federal Housing Administration, which just a few years ago insured only 2% of all new mortgages, now insures roughly a third. Yet the HUD Inspector General's office has not expanded. We need to make sure that HUD has the resources to properly investigate and remove fraudulent lenders. With the sharp decline in the private mortgage lending, programs like FHA insurance make homeownership a reality for millions of Americans. By providing HUD with the resources it needs to fight fraud, we'll protect FHA's long-term vitality while preventing the taxpayer from footing the bill for another bailout. Fraud in the financial system greatly contributed to this economic collapse that we're experiencing. Every day in New Hampshire, taxpayers there and across the country bear the burden of fraudulent activity. I'm confident that this legislation will help protect those taxpayers by providing the resources and legal tools we need to root out fraud. I hope my colleagues will join me in support of this bill.